what happens if you finish a cow on grass? Oh, in that case, you actually have a system in which all of the carbon of the cows goes back into the environment, and the cows are carbon negative. This is the Qantas, General Mills, and White Oak Pastures appraisal life cycle analysis of regenerative grazing at White Oak Pastures. What they found, I'll show you the summary here, is that the net total emissions for the cows raised at White Oak Pastures were negative 3.5, meaning that these cows sequestered more carbon into the soil than they produced. Regenerative agriculture, grass feeding and grass finishing, can easily be carbon negative. And as they reflect here, a Beyond Burger is carbon positive. Soybeans are carbon positive. Pork is carbon positive. Chicken is carbon positive. Okay? Yes. If you compare this to what happens in a traditionally raised cow, they're going to be much more carbon positive than a regeneratively raised cow. But why don't we increase the amount of regenerative agriculture? Why don't we do more grass feeding and grass finishing of cattle if we're really worried about this carbon footprint of this beef, and then we can feed more people incredible, nutritious food? Well, people would say, oh, you can't scale it. Well, bullshit. You definitely can scale it. So it's important to understand something called the Conservation Reserve Program, which is something I will show you guys a study of in one moment. So this is something dealing with the CRP, soil organic matter recovery in semi-arid grasslands, implications for the Conservation Reserve Program. We suggest that 50 years is an adequate time for recovery of active soil organic matter and nutrient availability, but recovery of total soil organic matter pools is a much slower process. Plant population dynamics may play an important role in the recovery of shortgrass steppe ecosystems from disturbance, such that establishment of perennial grasses determines the rate of organic matter recovery. Basically, what they're saying in this paper is that it needs 50 plus years to recover land that has been destroyed from monocrop agriculture. So the US government pays farmers. Hundreds of thousands of acres in the United States are laid fallow, which means there is nothing being grown on them and there are no animals on them, because we're not hip to the fact that the animals would regenerate the land faster, because we're just letting the land sit there for 50 plus years to regenerate the damage that has been done with monocrop agriculture. Well, guess what? Farms like White Oak Pastures, Rome Ranch, et cetera, that are doing regenerative can see much acceleration in that return to viability and fecundity of that land when you raise animals on the land. Rome Ranch is outside of Austin, Texas. I've been there a number of times. They have bison, which they took that land, which was destroyed by farming and early settlements and full of all kinds of garbage and very nutrient poor, very carbon poor in the soil. And they improved it year over year over year. I think they've had 7 or 8 years, maybe 9 now. Every year, the amount of carbon in the soil goes up. And you can track this on farms like Rome Ranch or White Oak Pastures because they are grazing bison in a rotational manner, just like they do at White Oak. So this is a graphic from White Oak Pastures showing soil organic matter, soil carbon, and it goes from, over the course of 20 years, it goes from 1% carbon or 1% organic matter to 5% organic matter in the soil. And you better believe that organic matter of 5% in the soil looks like coffee grounds compared to neighboring farms, which look like really weak chocolate milk. And as you've heard me say in the past, for every 1% of organic matter in the soil, it can hold 1 inch of rain in a catastrophic rain event, meaning that the flooding and the erosion will be much lower. That land at White Oak Pastures or at Rome Ranch can hold 3, 4, 5 inches of huge rain before the topsoil gets run off into ecosystems and estuaries. Well, what if your land only has 1% organic matter or less, like most monocrop farms do that are growing plants, like most people who are saying red meat causes climate change would want you to grow? 1 inch of rain in a serious rain event, and that soil is off, that topsoil is gone. It's in an estuary, choking and destroying that ecosystem. It's completely a no-brainer. So what I'm saying with regard to the Conservation Reserve Program is if we took all the land that the US government is paying farmers to leave fallow and put cattle on it, we would have much more land to raise regeneratively. People often say you can't scale regenerative, you can't scale grass-fed. Bullshit. It's totally scalable, especially if you use the hundreds of thousands of acres in the Conservation Reserve Program. And what we know about regenerative agriculture is when land gets more organic matter in it, you grow more food. You can put more cattle per square foot onto that land. There are multiple calculations that have been done to show this, like this calculation looking at how much land, how much increase in land we would need to do 100% grass finishing. They estimate a 31% increase if we were going to go to 100% grass finishing. Well, a lot of that 31% could come from the conservation reserve land, and the land that we have being used for cattle now will become more productive if we do grass finishing and grass feeding. And if we did that, we could take all the cows off feedlots, and all the land that is used for feedlots could become regenerated as well. There's plenty of land in the United States to do all grass finishing. This is a consumer-driven process. Consumers don't understand the importance of it, but it is possible in the United States. As I said earlier in this podcast, it's basically impossible to tell other countries what to do with their land. But in the United States, at least, I believe we have enough land to do regenerative grazing, grass finishing of all cattle. And that would sequester more carbon into the soil than the cows produce. But as I tried to illustrate in this podcast, the amount of carbon that even non-grass finished cows put into the environment is negligible. It's very small. It's part of a carbon cycle. It doesn't represent new carbon like emissions from transportation, electricity, et cetera do. And it allows us to make the most nutritious food for humans on the planet.